If it looks like price suppression and it feels like price suppression, it's probably price suppression. XRP got rejected yet again after breaking above $3.31, approaching its new all-time high, and then the overall market retraced as Donald Trump decided to go back up and start talking his talk about things that don't really make much sense, especially with the fact that he's now talking about Russia, negative things regarding US-Russia relationships, tariffs for the entire world. It just seems like, again, things that are not very sensible. But in today's video, we're going to talk about why it doesn't really matter. And regardless of what happens today and these slight retracements in the market, the overall sentiment and the overall push for crypto is still extremely bullish. Now, remember, as always, never financial advice, just trying to put you guys on the plays that I'm in. If you're new around here, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to the channel. So the market corrected today. We were looking like it was going to be an exceptional Monday. We saw Ethereum breaking nearly $4,000. We saw XRP was beginning to make really nice moves as momentum was on our side. But then we saw the suppression begin. XRP now sets $3.13. Volume is up 72% day over day at 7.95 billion US dollars, exchanging the hands of traders. Still red on the week. And on the month, we're looking okay. Things are still looking bullish for the entire crypto industry, but let's go ahead and talk about some of the news pieces that have hit today's market that are affecting us negatively. Bitcoin went from 119 down to 117.6. Let's take it to Walter Bloomberg. Trump on China, we're going to be setting a tariff for the rest of the world, and that's what they have to pay. Trump on China would love to see them open up their country. Trump, I'm allowed to give Maxwell a pardon. That's not very relevant to the market necessarily. Trump reiterates he does not care about wind energy, and world tariff would be somewhere between 15 to 20% range. Like what? What do you mean you're going to impose a tariff on every single country in the world that's doing kind of any type of imports into the United States or exports from their country to this one? And we'll make our own steel and aluminum. Remember, the United States is not the number one manufacturing hub because our labor costs, we have something called minimum wage. Our labor costs, compared to some of the other places of the world that have a lot less and lower cost of living, it doesn't make sense to bring some of these things home. Yes, we do have some forms of industrial type businesses that are US based, but if it doesn't make sense because there's cheaper labor out there or there's places to source it that's much cheaper, it makes sense to do so. And Carney reiterates that the US trade deal without any tariffs is not likely. So with that being said, we saw this kind of compound after compound after compound. And then, of course, following that, we saw Russia come in. And he says, Medvedev says that this is a step towards war. Russia's Medvedev says Trump is playing a game of ultimatums with Russia. Just absolutely ridiculous and insane, unexpected kind of things and escalation in areas that we didn't expect it. And of course, Iran also. Foreign minister says if aggression is repeated, we will not hesitate to react in a more defensive manner or decisive manner and in a way that will be impossible to cover up. So right now, it could just be the talk is the talk and not actually the walk. But the market reacted respectably. And we're seeing things now take a little bit of a downturn. But let's look at the bright side. XRP price to $4, most profitable phase likely here, says analyst. XRP price is up today amid market-wide recovery, but traders say key support levels must hold to reach a new all-time high. And this is what you and I care about. For us to break over 368 and go into the $4 range and hopefully beyond that, XRP's price displayed strength, of course, Monday, and we're actually seeing that. XRP was up, but flipped red after the news hit. But the most important thing is the accumulation phase, guys. Anything above $3 is what's important at the moment. XRP climbs above 325 as it gains against Bitcoin once again. The network growth on the ledger is maintaining high levels. With that being said, what we care about, data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView show XRP's bounce off a key demand zone at $3 on June 25th after sweeping the 295 level is what's most important. I think down to the 280 is the lowest we want to see this go before the structure becomes questionable. Because right now, after having such a bullish breakout in XRP, the question is, can we hold above 280 which is one of the moving averages. If that happens, I think we have clear skies to see potential new all-time highs for XRP. So depending on how low this retrace goes with what's happening right now when it comes to global news and economy, because that's of course impacting and affecting us. And we know this week we have the most important thing, and that is the Federal Reserve FOMC meeting that we're looking forward to. So with that being said, we can kind of decide what's going to happen and where we are going. Now, in addition, the first wave 3 target sits near 382, which is the 2.618 Fibonacci extension. For those of you that are not technical traders like myself, I don't really do much TA. I know support and resistance for the most part, as previous patterns all tend to lead to future predictions. Always remember that it's nothing but a tool and it's not 100% accurate. So with that being said, right now we're expecting if we break out, we can go above 382 and hopefully enter into the $4 range. One more piece of news from AI Invest. RLUSD surges on 122.5 million minting, up 129% volume, rising, drives $577 million market cap. Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin surged to 577 million market cap on July 2025 after 122.5 million tokens minted, driven by DeFi and exchange options. A PDAX or PDAX listing and blue chips A rating boosted RLUSD's credibility, aligning with Ripple's strategy to expand digital assets use cases. The total stablecoin transferred to 27.6 trillion in 2024, with RLUSD trading spike and volume spike of 129% now, highlights its role in cross-border liquidity and payments alike. Very important to keep that in mind. Ripple's $25 million education-focused investment underscores RLUSD's utility through regulatory scrutiny and collateralization risk persistent as the market nears 600 mil. So remember, RLUSD is part of the Ripple ecosystem. Having a stablecoin within your ecosystem makes it easy to go to and from XRP itself and be a part of and create a DeFi ecosystem surrounding that project or coin. So the fact that we have this and it's still looking extremely bullish, we should put a thumbs up and say this is good that we're seeing volumes on a spike. Especially one of my favorite predictors for market cap is looking at daily volume, day over day. So at $129 million of trade volume, that's actually substantial for something that is a $600 million market cap or so, 560 million. Once we see volume spike above its market cap, then we can kind of expect, well, that means new inflows are coming in more so than we've seen in the past. And that could be extremely bullish for XRP Ripple. So guys, market is red. No one is going to take that off our plates. But the most important thing for us to talk about always is what the technical analysis says, what we're seeing overall in sentiment, and what to kind of expect based off of previous bull cycles. Crypto currently comes out 4 hours ago and says BTC has followed the global liquidity index with a lag this entire cycle. The global liquidity index is showing early signs of a downtrend. Bitcoin should be in the clear until around mid-September. That means we have the rest of July, all of August, all of September, let's say at least halfway through. I'll be watching this closely over the next few weeks. So with that being said, if you look at the global liquidity index and Bitcoin, we saw it top, or global liquidity is looking like it's going to top right here around mid-September. So Bitcoin usually is a 75-day laggard. With that being said, we can kind of see it usually overtake and could have this really nice spike up to even $200,000 per BTC. If that happens, XRP has insane upside from where it's at now. But you got to make sure you're watching all the indicators. Small corrections along the market because of turmoil, because of tensions, global politics. All of these things are basically noise when it comes to the market, unless proven otherwise. And as of right now, there's nothing that proves it otherwise. So guys, I appreciate your support. Short-term corrections, shakeouts happen. The sentiment right now for the market is still under neutral and maybe partial greed. When we enter extreme greed, that's when we'll be taking profits, and I'll be making sure to keep you guys updated. But for right now, it's still accumulation. So until next time, as always, keep investing. Peace.